Welcome back to the channel, friends. It's wonderful to have you here once again. Whether you're a devoted practitioner of Pure Land Buddhism or someone exploring different paths to spiritual awakening, today's topic is one that deserves deep reflection. You may have heard it before or even thought it yourself. Isn't it enough to just recite Amitabha Buddha? It sounds so simple, so complete, and yes, it is incredibly powerful. But when that idea becomes exclusive, when we think that one phrase alone is all that is needed and dismiss the rest of the Dharma, we run into dangerous territory. Today, we are going to unpack this belief, explore its deeper implications, and understand why clinging too tightly to any single form of practice might lead us away from the fullness of the Buddha's teachings. Let's get started by acknowledging a universal truth among Pure Land practitioners. The practice of reciting Amitabha Buddha's name is indeed profound. It is a practice backed by centuries of tradition, revered masters, and countless examples of miraculous transformation and liberation. The vow of Amitabha Buddha to welcome those who recite his name with sincerity into the Western Pure Land is one of the most compassionate promises found in Buddhist scriptures. But here's where things often go astray. When practitioners interpret this vow as a reason to ignore or even reject the rest of the Buddha's teachings. This narrow interpretation doesn't reflect the teachings of the great Pure Land masters. Rather, it reflects a growing misunderstanding that recitation alone, divorced from understanding, discipline, and broader engagement with the Dharma, is enough. The truth is, saying the name without truly understanding it, without allowing it to transform your conduct, view, and mind, is like carrying a treasure map but never taking the journey. So why is this idea so appealing? Because it offers simplicity. In a world filled with complexity, the notion that one phrase can solve all problems is comforting, but spiritual practice is not about comfort, it's about truth, growth, and liberation. When we treat the recitation of Amitabha Buddhas as a shortcut or a magic formula, we risk turning a path of liberation into a superficial habit. And more dangerously, when we reject other teachings or criticize other forms of practice as inferior, we are not just mistaken, we are committing what the sutras describe as the severance of the Dharma and the destruction of the seed of enlightenment. Let's take a moment to reflect on what the Dharma truly is. The Dharma is not a single method. It is not limited to one path or one chant. The Buddha taught for 49 years, delivering teachings that responded to countless types of people, countless conditions, and countless mental afflictions. He spoke of the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, the Six Paramitas, the 12 Links of Dependent Originality, and the nature of emptiness, the practices of compassion, wisdom, and countless methods tailored to different capacities. Why? Because sentient beings are not all the same. Some respond to meditation. Some are transformed by studying sutras. Some find liberation through devotion. Some are touched by chanting. The Dharma is vast because our afflictions are vast, and to deny the diversity of methods is to deny the Buddha's great compassion and infinite wisdom. So when someone says, only chanting Amitabha is needed, they might be coming from a place of sincerity, but if that view excludes or looks down on other practices, it is no longer aligned with the Buddha's vision. It becomes a kind of spiritual arrogance that cuts one off from growth and deep realization. Even the great masters of the Pure Land tradition ever advocated blind recitation. Masters like Shandao, Ponen, and especially the revered Chinese master Ouyui Zizu emphasized the integration of faith, vow, and practice. They upheld the value of studying scriptures, cultivating moral behavior, developing samadhi, and generating bodhicitta, the inspiration to achieve enlightenment for the sake of all beings. To them, chanting Amitabha's name was not a rejection of other practices, but a doorway into the vast ocean of the Dharma. It was the beginning of a transformation, not the end. When we cling to the idea that recitation alone is sufficient and that everything else is unnecessary or even wrong, we start to fall into what is known as Dharma slander. This is not merely a mistake, it is a grave karmic act. The sutras repeatedly warn against speaking ill of other paths, belittling different methods, or discouraging others from following the teachings that resonate with them. The moment we say, "You shouldn't study the Lotus Sutra, just recite Amitabha," or "You don't need to understand emptiness, just chant," we risk becoming obstacles to others and to ourselves. The practice of reciting Amitabha Buddha should lead us to humility, gratitude, and reverence for all forms of Dharma, not arrogance. It should open our hearts to others, not close them. It should inspire us to respect all the vehicles the Buddha gave, not reject them. The recitation is not just about words, it is about transforming our entire being, dissolving our attachments, reducing our delusions, and opening to infinite compassion. Let us consider this. If reciting Amitabha Buddhas leads you to become more patient, more compassionate, more humble, more forgiving, then you are practicing correctly. If it makes you look down on others, become more closed-minded, or reject learning, then something is wrong. The purpose of the name is to call us home to our own Buddha nature. It is not meant to be a boundary that separates us from the rest of the Dharma. There is a story of a lay practitioner who diligently recited Amitabha Buddha's name every day, thousands of times. But he refused to listen to teachings on the Heart Sutra, saying it was too complicated and not useful. One day he fell ill, and in his dreams he saw Amitabha, but could not approach the Buddha. A barrier blocked him. Confused and disheartened, he later sought advice from a teacher who explained that the barrier was his own pride, the belief that one method was superior and sufficient, which had turned into a subtle form of ego. That practitioner then began to study more broadly, to cultivate humility, and to dedicate his practice not just to his own rebirth but to the liberation of all beings. From then on, he said the name with a completely different heart, and the dreams returned. But this time, the Buddha smiled and reached out his hand. The essence of this story reminds us chanting the name must come with faith, vow, and practice. But it must also come with an open heart. Faith without humility is just another attachment. Practice without understanding can become mechanical, and vow without compassion becomes hollow. When we bring these elements together, chanting becomes not just a method, it becomes a living expression of awakening. So is reciting Amitabha Buddhas enough? Yes, if it is done with right understanding, humility, and integration with the broader path. No, if it becomes an excuse to reject study, to abandon moral cultivation, or to dismiss others. In that case, we are no longer practicing Buddhism, we are clinging to a shadow of it. To all who sincerely practice Pure Land recitation, know that your path is noble and beautiful. But never let it become a wall between you and the rest of the Dharma. Let it be a bridge, one that brings you closer to the Buddha's vast ocean of wisdom, not further away. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope this reflection has helped clarify the deeper meaning behind reciting the Buddha's name and the importance of staying open to the full breadth of the teachings. If you've had experiences positive or challenging on your own path with chanting, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you can continue walking this path of wisdom with us. Until next time, may your recitationers be filled with clarity, devotion, and boundless compassion. Thank you for watching this video.